Okay, so any any suggestions or ideas on what we discovered from the wild children at Duck Lake? That's where we left off. I think it is still your turn. We had just drawn the event that something finished early. Okay, so the actual event is that someone comes up with an ingenious solution to a big problem, finishing a project early. So what was the idea? I guess that's actually what we're doing. And then we need the consequence of finishing the project for communicating with the children. That was what was decided. If I recall correctly, it was going to take a month to communicate with them, and then suddenly it finished. Right. So the linguist managed to talk to him. Oh, so the I don't know where we left off. The Dark Lord, what we've discovered about him uh, was that he's allergic to fish, living underground beneath the cathedral, possibly in duck. Oh, right. The fish. The fish are living under the cathedral, and there's possibly also some in Duck Lake. We also discovered at that same time that there were funny bearded pocket people living in the tunnel, but we can't communicate with them. The event. I mean, I can zoom in like that. Someone comes up with an ingenious solution to a big problem, and as a result, if the project finishes early, what was the idea? Okay. So he managed to translate the runes, which somehow gave us the secret to the language of the children at Duck Pond or Duck Lake. That's their imitation of the duck. They're the paat past language. Okay. So in lore, do we have stones on here? Carved stones. Okay, now bear in mind too, so he must have not only learned about the children, but also the priest, because earlier we had the linguist examine the stones and discover info about the priest as well. So maybe the language has some connection between all of it. Um, and that priest is still in the cathedral, I believe, was the last time he was seen. So carved stones with ancient language upon it. So that does draw a little bit of a connection, which then brings us to the project that finished early. What is communicated with the duck children? I don't remember the actual phrasing of the question for the project, what specifically we were trying to do. I mean, I just put it down as communicate, but I don't remember if there was something specific we were attempting to learn from them, or if we were just trying to talk to them. Special fishing techniques, okay. So we're going to say now that we know, help us in our quest for the, okay, so that would that be under lore? Or would that be under community? Let's say let's say community because that would be something for us. Um, so we're saying that we learned duck children are aware of the last atrocity and want to help fish in the lake since they know getting the one fish in there is going to be a lot harder. Okay. Okay, so that kind of also then confirms that there is the fish that the Dark Lord is allergic to in the pond, or in the lake, rather. Keep calling it a pond. It's a lake. Um, and that this fishing technique that we've learned will help us to capture it because it's difficult to do. So we have learned the secret fishing technique for the special fish that we are after. Okay, so in order to capture it, that's going to have to be its own project, but we are now done with this. And actually, that's kind of what we're doing. We're spending that forward on this. In fact, this goes forward one now because of the advanced projects. And actually, since we're actually already on that project to fish in the Duck Lake, I'll say because we learned the secret technique, we'll bump that up one more week too. That'll make it a lot easier. So it went forward just because of the normal advancing of the projects, and then we went forward one just because of what we just discovered. So that now puts us towards the action for this week of discovering something new, having a discussion, or starting a new project. Talk over to the cards here. Actually, maybe if I zoom in a little there. On problems. Oh, yes, but we're also short on people. Well, but I added that to the project when yeah. I added a week because we were short on people already when we started the project. And actually, the collapsed. There's a couple of these things that have already been solved, right? So, like the doppelganger ended up being an illusion. We figured that one out, right? It was warning us. It was an omen. And then the collapsed tunnel is how we found the bearded pocket people. So I think these ones are done. These are not really problems anymore. We've already solved them. Oops. Shoot. Uh, it was the wild, wild children defending the other village. There you go. Do you want to see the discussions as well? See some of the topics that are still open? So we discover the priest is part of the Lord of Darkness cult, but they're not all that hardcore, just enough that we now don't know whether to trust them if they do reappear. Okay, so we'll put that under the lore. Do we have anything? Okay, I guess that'll be here then. We have learned that the priest is a member of the forces of darkness. Is that should we say an erstwhile member because they're a member but they're not necessarily fully committed to it? Is that kind of what we're going for? Let's say is let's say they're a half-hearted member of the forces of darkness. Okay, so that is okay. So they just want the cool T-shirts, but they don't really want the goat sacrifices. Okay, so that moves us on. Zoc is not here, I don't think. So that would be Caleb's turn now. Winter elements destroy a food source. If this was your only food source, add a scarcity. Or winter elements leave everyone cold, tired, and miserable. Project dice are not reduced this week. So for food, we have the abundance of horses. We also have cattle. What left is what remains of the cattle. We've got some crops, and we've got some moss, but they're already in scarcity. So if we're going to get rid of food, that's what we got. Otherwise, everyone's just cold and miserable this week. Yes, that's true. Everyone is sad and depressed, and so now it's been even colder. Everyone is depressed about the rain. Yeah, we're gonna need a new community card. Now, we do have the parish that are looking for that priest. The Ocarinists themselves are still here. Scarcity of crops? Okay. So we will take that off of here. And dang it, add it now to here. I mean, that makes sense anyway, really. It is winter, so unless we had built some hydroponics or something in the hanging gardens in the city. Right, exactly. You can't be depressed if you're already depressed. Okay, so that was that. So this does mean, yeah, this does mean that this still continues. So we're still working on the fishing. And now we need an action, discovering something, having a discussion, or starting a new project. Now, I guess this connection with the runes and the priest discussion, I guess we kind of figured that one out, didn't we? Because we discovered, as part of our lore, that the linguist examined the stone and discovered information about the priest, and I guess we figured out that they were a member of darkness. So we kind of have a connection already between this. I think we've finished this discussion. Thank you, Pocket Ninja. Um, yeah, I think so. I'm not really sure. I think that was a Zoc contribution. He said we discovered some funny bearded pocket people that were living in the hidden tunnel in the cathedral, and we somehow just could not communicate with them. So they are separate from the wild children. Well, we could do that. I mean, we could either we could start a project to send the linguist to talk to them, or we could just have a discovery that in all of this deciphering of the runes, we've also discovered the language of the pocket people. I mean, those runes helped us talk to two other people, so we figured out a couple other things. Maybe it's an ancient language of the area or something. Yeah. Is that what we want to do? Discover the way to communicate with the pocket people? Okay. So, so we just, are we doing that as a discovery or a project then? Just to make it clear, because I need to know where to put this on the board. Move these over here just a little bit. Okay. So I'll change this here from can't communicate to we now know uh, communicate with the pocket people. Well, here, I'll just change it to here. To learned the language or discovered. Let's say it's discovered because that's technically more true. Discovered their language. Yeah. This is his big break. In the final act, he became one of the most valuable members of the society. It's my time to shine. Okay, moving on to Jesper's turn. 10. In preparation for the coming year, or really the end of the year, the community begins a huge undertaking. Start a project that will take 5 weeks to complete. It is actually possible we could get this done before the end of the game. We still have 7 cards in the deck. Okay, so let's see. Um, Prepare diplomatic mission to other village. Oops, I need to give that one more line there. That will take a total of 5 weeks. Yeah, we need to convince them that we're not so bad. Okay, so that's the event. That means that this one finishes. Zoc is not here, so we've been spending a while trying to fish up this special fish at Duck Lake. We've even learned the special fishing technique from the wild kids. What's the result of our fishing endeavor? Okay, so that's two on the same page there. We think we found the fish. Okay, I'll just put that as a resource then. Uh, okay, so that's another three for ambiguous fish. Um, possibly important fish. I'll put that as a resource. We now have the possibly important fish in our possession, the one that the Lord of Darkness is allergic to, and will therefore be defeated by. Okay, so that was. We started that project out of the event, so now we need an action for the week. I'm just picturing the end of Game of Thrones, and instead of stabbing the evil guy, just leap out of nowhere and slap him across the face. Okay, so we will add that to the project here. How long are we going to spend doing that? Let's say talk to the pocket people about their wants. 1 week? Okay. Now that we can speak pigeon pocket people, we'll go try a week to communicate and see why they're down there, what they're looking for, what they want. All right. So we move back to Untamed Fox. The Ace of Spades. For real this time. Now is the time to conserve energy and resources. A project fails, but gain in abundance. Or, now is the time for hurried labor and final efforts. A project finishes early, but we gain a scarcity. I'll hover over here to the projects and resources. I think I'll move the cattle back over to scarcity. I think it's kind of implied that all of these things are available to us, regardless of where they are. Flip a coin. Okay. Uh, Objects. Well, I can actually grab a coin from here. We'll grab a coin. I don't know how well. Let's actually just roll a die. I feel more comfortable with that. I don't think the random mechanics in the game are necessarily gonna. Okay, so shall we say odds for the first one, evens for the second one? Odds, the first one, which was a project fails, but we gain an abundance. Sorry, I'll try and. Gotta be mindful of where the chat is over there. Yeah, the sound effect is just. Okay, trying to talk to the pocket people fails. But what do we gain out of that? We gain fish. There's now an abundance of fish. Are they special fish or are they just fish? Maybe the possibly important fish was the fish god, and now we just have fish all over. Abundance of fat carps. Well, I mean, technically, we did decide that these fish that the Lord of Darkness is allergic to do live underground beneath the cathedral, and it was only a possibility that they lived in Duck Lake. So maybe on our way down to talk to the pocket people, we just found a whole crap load of fish, or a carp load of fish, as the case may be, and we now have easy fishing mods. I mean, let's look. Carp edible? Question mark? We do. Yes, carp are good to eat, but you may have to prepare it properly if you don't like the fishy flavor. Perfect. So we garnish it with the moss from the stones. Everybody likes it. Well, yes, I mean, we lick the moss off of the rocks. I don't think we're picky here. especially now that we're all starving and desperate because the winter ruined our crops. Okay, that was the event, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we are on to this actually goes forward, and now we need something for the action this week. It's hard to keep all this in frame here. We need a discovery, discussion, or a new project. Shadow of the priest in the abandoned city. So just like the doppelganger, we don't know. Okay, so we've discovered. Uh, where was that? Problem? I guess a problem. We'll put it under problem. So we've now discovered the shadow of the priest, but we don't know. Is it just an illusion? Okay. So the priest vanishes, lost, seen in the cathedral. I guess I can take that off because we now. Well, actually, no. No, this is different because this is the shadow of the priest. So the priest has vanished and we've only seen a shadow of him. Shadow of the priest with haunting ocarina music. So he's got a choir wandering around with him, ghostly choir. Okay, so that is that turn. Pocket Ninja, the nine of spades. Someone goes missing. They're alone in the winter elements. Choose one. The community organizes constant search parties until the person is found. Project dice are not reduced this week, or no one ever hears from them again. Well, I mean, it could be anybody. We actually have a couple people established, but it could really just be anybody. I think most of our named characters have all gone away. Like we lost the priest, we lost the wild children. We lost the wolf tamer. We lost the crazy man. We lost the girl. Yeah, that's about all we've got right now. Is we've got the parish and we've got the duck kids. Maybe they found the priest. Lured away by the haunting ocarina music. Okay. So, strangely coincidental with us finding the shadow of the priest and his haunting ocarina music, the parish and their ocarinas disappear from the settlement. Should we put that under a problem, or are they just gone for good? Nine. Well, we just never hear from them again, so they all just disappear. Okay, so that was the event. This project goes down, and now we need something new. Discovery, discussion, or a project. Sorry, I keep forgetting that on your screen the chat is covering some of this. I need to figure out how to get a transparent chat. I'll work on that this week. Yeah, that would be a fun theme. Although enough people left our community on their own, we scared them away. We didn't need a Pied Piper. Open the discussion about an illusion. Okay. So we're going to talk about. You mean the illusion about the priest, right? So shadow priest, possibly illusion. Okay. So what's everyone's 2 cents on this topic? What do you think we should do about whether this priest is a serious threat or something we can ignore? I'll put a red question mark. Okay, so place hope in the fish. So generally just ignore it. Okay. Uh, use music at the uh, illusions location. Use a fishy ritual. Okay. Okay. So that is the discussion. That's the turn. Zoc is not here. Caleb. The Jack. An infected outsider arrives, seeking amnesty. They have some much needed resources with them. We can choose to welcome them to the community, remove a scarcity, but we also introduce infection to the community, or we bar them from entering. What scarcity could they have that we need addressed? Uh, how does its need become more dire? Oh, okay. So we have a scarcity that they could have helped with. It becomes worse, but we keep them from infecting all of us, or we take all their stuff, but now we're infected too. Or possibly. This is kind of ambiguous. There's infection in the community, but it doesn't actually specify how many people get infected. Scarcities are iron, cattle, edible moss, and our crops. Okay, so we're gonna keep them out, but now our crops are just completely withered away. Is that what we're doing? Okay, so we've kept them out, but now our crops are in dire condition. We do still have a bunch of horses and fat carp, though, and whatever we can lick off of a rock for moss, but We now we now can no longer rely upon the crops. Uh, Scarcity. Okay, yeah. Now it says how does it become more dire this week? So is it just like a cold snap or yeah, something like that, Pocket Ninja. I think you guys remember that series a lot better than I do. Okay, so that's the thing. The projects go down a week, and something happens for the week now. An action, a discovery, a discussion, or project.